Good evening. Good evening. Welcome in. It is Monday, January 5th. It's 9:51 p.m. I'm AP and this is Timeouts and Tangents. Thank you to whoever is watching right now, whether it be live or sometime in your near future. Thank you for taking the time out to share your time with me this evening. There hasn't been much going on in college football. Been pretty quiet over the weekend, right? Kind of quiet, right? No, has it been kind of quiet? Well, I mean, in comparison sake to the expectations that the world had, and even a lot of us LSU fans had for Lane Kiffin in the opening of the portal on January 2nd, it has been relatively quiet as far as recruiting goes. We haven't landed we haven't had any of those big name commits land just yet. While we've been pulling in some guys as expected, but those big name guys haven't popped off just yet. But there's been a lot of noise and rumbling around other things that's really just been getting under my skin. And it seems that these Ole Miss fans, boosters, contributors, whoever, for some reason, just can't get over the fact that the staff is moving on immediately following Ole Miss's huge upset over Georgia last Thursday. Pete Golding's being asked about the coaching staff coming back to LSU, and he's saying himself that he expects the guys who's been with him this entire time to finish with him. The AD Keith Carter is saying, "Oh, we're going to have to see about it." Like it's now all of a sudden becoming a problem because they are in the midst of trying to put together a tampering case against LSU. It's hard to be mad at your friend for flirting with your girlfriend when you say, "Hey, take her out on this date for me because I got to go to work." That's hypocritical in the least. You cannot sit up there and say, "Oh, you guys are tampering with our players," when they are coaching your players. If you don't want them involved with your players, don't let them back into the locker room with them. Don't have them on the practice field with them. And it's so ironic and hypocritical because LSU's interim head coach was Frank Wilson, who was not retained by Lane Kiffin and is now the running back coach at Ole Miss. And he could be accused of tampering because some of the first players off of LSU's roster are taking their very first visits to Ole Miss. Cohen Eccles and Kyle Parker. And in the same vein, you've got Ole Miss fans that are trying to tweet gotcha moments of wide receiver Jace Brown, transfer from Kansas State, being at Ole Miss before going to LSU. But the funny and hypocritical thing about that is that in the midst of these coaches, quote unquote, not being allowed to return to Ole Miss, which most of them were, the coaching staff that's at practice for Ole Miss today, who's helping prepare the team for their game Thursday night against Miami to go to the national championship. That staff who's also being around transfer portal recruits get the opportunity to see those recruits at Ole Miss and then see them at LSU. Imagine if George McDonald isn't at LSU for right now, because I don't know if he is or if he isn't. But let's say George McDonald isn't at Ole Miss and Jace Brown, the wide receiver from Kansas State, is heading to Baton Rouge from Ole Miss. Let's say He's coming off of that visit, and then George McDonald can recruit against everything he just saw and experienced at Ole Miss and tell him, yeah, everything that they're doing over there, we doing it over here because we're the staff that put it in place. That like this tampering thing, you got to let this go. You got to get over it. If you don't want the players to be involved with the coaching staff that's there, then don't allow LSU's coaches to be there. Because at the end of the day, you have this merger of two seasons coinciding at the same time in that one building. The LSU building has moved on completely and is focused solely on the 2026 roster, excuse me. The Ole Miss staff and building is still focused on the 2025 run to a potential national championship win, which they should be focused on. But at the same time, because of this messed up college schedule and calendar, they still at the same time have to deal with the 2026 roster too. And there's a lot of influx between that. So you have this weird convergence of these same teams at this one inflection point. And now it's got everybody all worked up, people trying to have gotcha moments and win moments. And then these different narratives are getting spun out of it just so one side can feel like they're bigger or better than the other. At the end of the day, I can tell you right now, I personally do not care who shows up on our roster because these young men have the right to make the decisions for themselves. I'm not going to sit up here and be mad if one of these young men decides to stay where they are, go somewhere else, or come to LSU. I'm going to celebrate and support the players that show up and put on the purple and gold, tap that win bar, run out to 100,000 plus screaming fanatics in Baton Rouge on a Saturday night and give it their all. What I would be mad at is the lack of development, proper usage of schemes, and those things that go into putting them in the positions to be exceptional, to win. But yet, adults are sitting up here on apps, hiding behind fake profile pictures, trying to call people out of their names, going after children and people's families, all because other people who make way more money than all of us are doing things that we will never get the opportunity to do, living dreams that we can only close our eyes and imagine what it feels like to be for the most part. We have no control over any of that. And yet these individuals who are hiding behind these fake accounts are really trying to one up people off this stuff. Like, what are we doing? Get over it. And then we want to sit up here and have this these narratives about the coaching staff, about tampering, and then trying to say that Charlie Weiss is not going to be the LSU OC. It's gotten so real that even in this moment, as we speak, even in this moment, we have people pushing out stories that Charlie Weiss Jr. is a name to be considered for the New York Giants head coaching job. Well, I wonder where the hell that came from. I wonder where that came from. What brought that about? I posted something on my personal page on Twitter this morning, and I don't know if y'all gonna call it viral. I'm gonna call it viral because over 35,000 views, 226 likes, 15 reposts, 19 comments. For me, that's viral. I mean, my personal Twitter account only has 140 followers on it. Like I legitimately just started using Twitter, and even though I've been on there since 2010, I'm just starting to use it. But my personal Twitter account right now, I have this, and I'm going to share this page. Let me share my screen real quick. I posted this, and it was on 3 coming out earlier this morning saying that Charlie Weiss Jr. told Chris Lowe that he has no interest in going to the NFL and is committed to LSU. He says, and I quote, "I'm fired up about finishing the job at Ole Miss and the future at LSU." So I repost on Three's original post, and I said, "No, I'm not celebrating this because the fact that he had to come out and say this was pretty pathetic. There's a reason those stories were leaked. People feel so scorned that they just want to desperately make LSU look like they're losing or make things that more difficult. Cool. This wasn't just for happenstance. This story was leaking while we had Brennan Sorsby on campus trying to be recruited by Charlie Weiss. You don't think that that's not going to muddy up the waters for the recruiting of quarterbacks, especially receivers on offense? You don't think that's not going to have an effect on that? It does. Because here he is legitimately pulling double duty, flying between Oxford and Baton Rouge, working during the day as an Ole Miss OC and at night as the LSU OC. Because, like I said earlier, there's this weird convergence of 2 different seasons mixing at one time. And this man who's putting it all on the line for both universities right now, representing both schools in a way that we've never seen done before. And instead of us championing him to be, an example setter, a difference maker, not just for what he's doing as a play caller, but just being a man of integrity and high character, trying to see things out to the end. You want to go and make his job that much harder. I wonder why. I wonder where this story came from. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's someone who, played at Ole Miss, was pretty relevant, has a lot of power between Oxford and New Orleans. There's a tie and wants to see Ole Miss relevant, but also was relevant in New York. I don't know. Maybe he won a couple of Super Bowls, beating one of the greatest teams we've ever seen assembled on the national football in the National Football League. Maybe he had something to do with that. That's pretty pathetic. Because guess what? At the end of the day, with these type of distractions, you're also hurting Ole Miss. Well, how are you hurting Ole Miss? I'm glad you asked. The more time this man has to spend deflecting from these distractions, it's less time he gets to prepare the team to go up against one of the toughest defenses that still exist in the nation. Miami is carried by their defense. And not just their defensive line specifically. You have to understand that these petty things cannot take place. Like, can't we grow up? Why can we not just be grown? And I get it. A lot of people are going to say, well, Lane this and Lane that and Lane. It's over with. Lane left. He's in Baton Rouge. Well, he tweets. So you letting a tweet get your panties in a bunch? A bunch of words on the screen on an app that you scroll up? Scroll past it. Stop following him. Mute him. You have a choice to make on whether or not you are going to react to what someone tweets. How you respond. You as an adult. So grow up. This is pointless. Another reason it's pointless because it's a bunch of kids, a bunch of young men, like I said at the beginning, making multi-million dollar decisions that don't involve us. The only thing that we get to do is sit back and watch. I don't see none of us going into any offices, prepping game plans, scheming up against cover threes, backside blitzers, robbers on a cover one. The only time you do that is when you press this here controller and log on NCAA. And then most of the time, y'all get on these sticks and don't know what the hell y'all doing there either. Because for the most part, a lot of y'all were just a bunch of water boys. And that's why you get so passionate behind this, because you are living vicariously through people who you will never meet. A lot of y'all haven't even been able to touch the grass in some of these stadiums. The closest you get is the concession stand. Cut this shit out. It's dumb. It's petty. It gets in the way of being an actual fan. And I can tell you right now, when it comes to me personally, I personally don't hold any real hatred in my heart for Ole Miss. I don't like them because they're a rival, but to me, they're a fun rival. I like rivalries. I like being able to compete. I enjoy competition, healthy competition. I want to see everybody succeed, but at the end of the day, there can only be a winner and a loser, especially if we're going head to head. And of course, I want who I support to be the winner. Not only do I support LSU, I actually went there. I took classes at LSU. I've been inside of buildings at LSU. So it is legitimately my school. Did I finish? No, I can be honest about that. I don't have anything to hide. Life, life be lifing sometimes. Is it a goal of mine to go back and absolutely? If I'm afforded that opportunity, you damn right. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people out there who are cheering and supporting these schools and supporting these fans, supporting these teams, and have never even set foot on a campus. But yet you want to get out of pocket with grown men and go after their children based on decisions that they made for their lives? You gotta be kidding me. Grow up. Grow up. Absolutely dumb. Absolutely dumb. We as a society, as fans of the SEC, need to be better. And I'm not gonna even lie. I'm not gonna sit up here in front. I'm not one of those fans of LSU who's also a fan of the SEC and wants to see the SEC succeed. I don't care. If you are in the SEC and you are not for LSU, you don't wear purple and gold, if you don't have a tiger, if you are not off Nicholson Drive, I want you to lose because you're my competition. But at the same time, I don't want to see you being degraded. Once again, it's competition, and I can congratulate the victor. Man, my best friend is an absolute diehard Florida Gator fan. I mean, diehard Florida Gator fan. Born and raised in Baton Rouge. Yeah, you know I'm talking about you. Will bleed blue and orange. But the one thing he and I both share in common is that we can be objective about our schools. We can be objective about our teams. We can be objective about the players. If somebody's playing bad, guess what? We're going to say they playing bad. But we're also not going to down the other team or disrespect somebody on that roster. Man, when 2019 Florida came to Baton Rouge to play against that 2019 LSU team, that was one of the funnest games I'd ever been to. I dabbed up a lot of the Florida people I was sitting in the section with. We were going at each other all night. And then Derek Stingley picked off Kyle Trask in the end zone to seal the game. And I'll never forget one of the lines I kept saying was, stop going at him. You don't want to go at that freshman. He's going to make you pay. And sure enough, he made them pay. At the end of the game, did I say, oh, Kyle Trask is doesn't deserve to live? No, I was Kyle Trash. He's trash. But then I was like, I mean, he's really not trash. He's actually pretty solid. He should be an NFL quarterback. Won't know if he's a starter, but he'll be an NFL quarterback at least. Y'all got something. Kyle Pitts is a dude. Like, I was complimenting those guys because it was a hell of a game. Florida and Auburn that year were two amazing SEC games that people genuinely skip over. We focus on Texas. We focus on Bama. We focus on how we blew out Oklahoma. And we skip over how much Ole Miss gave us a run for our money in 2019. They lit our defense up. I forgot the quarterback's name. It wasn't Matt Corral, it was the guy right before him, but I'm pretty sure he's still running for a 40-yard touchdown somewhere. Like, you don't have to be disrespectful to get your point across. You don't have to be desperate. You don't have to be rude to support someone. Look, I'm telling you right now. Where is it? My son went to Edna Carr, played on that team. Yes, this is his state championship ring. You can see it right here. Last name, number. Played with Corey. I will never forget the day Corey and Richard both committed, because they committed on the same day. I sent them both something. On Richard's gift, I told him, man, I'm so excited for you to be an LSU Tiger. Cannot wait. Cannot wait to cheer for you and come see you in Tiger Stadium. That was 2 whole years ago. On Corey's gift, I said, I am so disappointed in you, sir, for picking Ole Miss of all schools. If not LSU, why Ole Miss? It's a sad day for me, but at the same time, I'm happy and proud for you. And I guess I will be a Rebel fan until you leave. I love Corey Adams. That young man looked out for my son. Him and every other senior on that championship team looked out for my son. They showed him what it was like to be on a tough squad, to be a winner, to hold each other accountable to the standards that they need to win. Him, Richard, Manchild, Buck, I will never, ever not support wherever they are. Because at the end of the day, those kids mean everything. And it's about the kids. So yes, do I want to see Ole Miss lose against LSU? Yes, I do. But am I hoping that Ole Miss loses on Thursday? No. Because Corey would have been on that team. And I'm not cheering against 91. But you incestuous, rude versions of Ole Miss Rebel fans make it so hard for me to help support you. To encourage people to cheer for you. Because you'll have to be so insufferable. Y'all are a Cinderella story right now. But every time you look up, you're attempting to rub LSU's face in it, and we don't care. The only thing we want is to be competing for a championship again. If that was the case, if we didn't want that, you know what we would have done? We would have kept Brian Kelly as our coach. We didn't come after Lane Kiffin because he was at Ole Miss. We came after Lane Kiffin because he was the best option to get us to where we wanted to be. Not just as far as our brand is concerned, but the results on the field. There wasn't another guy available who could replicate what he was doing, and he was doing it at a better level, and you guys are the proof of it. And I'm not saying this to like put y'all down. I'm saying this to give y'all flowers because he set a pedigree and a standard for y'all and a foundation for y'all to build off of. It's the same thing Saban did for us. We achieved all the success that we've had because of what Saban did. What we were able to do was capitalize on the foundation he laid and continue to build upon it. Do we have flops of seasons in between? Yes. Because, and I said this in a comment to somebody earlier, we get a little drunk sometimes. We get in our own way sometimes. That just happens. That happens. I'm cool with that. But then at the end of it all, if we have an 8-4 season, we typically bounce back with a 10-11-1, 10-2, pressing for a national championship. We don't take long to figure things out because of what Saban did. And I think the same is going to be for Ole Miss. I'm not saying that Ole Miss is just going to fall off into obscurity. And if you do, then you know who to point at. Because you've been to the summit of the mountain now. I'm not going to say you made it to the top yet. To make it to the top, you got to win it. But you're at the summit of the mountain. And now it's on who you have in place to lead you up there. And I will say this out loud. Your AD is being weak, not standing on business. Because if he was really standing on business, you know what he'd do? He'd shut this shit up. He'd either lock in and say, you know what, these are the coaches that started it. These are going to be the coaches that finish it and move on. But instead, or he's going to say, you know what, we're going in another direction. These coaches have their own futures ahead of them. So we're going to support them as they go forward. But no, he's staying in the middle. We're just going to see. That's pussyfooting around it. Excuse my language. But this really has me worked up because I legitimately want to see a kid like Trinidad Chambliss be able to cash in on his opportunity. Think about this. Brennan Sorsby signed an NIL deal worth $5.5 million to go to Texas Tech. And I'm gonna get into this later on because Texas Tech fans think they putting Lane in the locker and all. I don't care about none of that. But Brennan Sorsby for 1 year gets to go play ball at Texas Tech and get $5.5 million. More power to you. You absolutely should. However, the potential rookie of the year, second round, 40th overall pick in Tyler Shuck, he ain't making that. Starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, Shadur Sanders. Now, get it. I get it. He ain't really concerned about money. He's got money elsewhere. But his his entire contract isn't worth $5 million. We're living in different times. This isn't the college football that we're used to, that we grew up with. This is completely brand new, and it just kind of happened overnight. So, Ole Miss, please focus on the bigger picture. You got 2 more days, Tuesday and Wednesday, to get prepared to face and support your team to go up against one of the most historic brands in college football. Not only one of the most historic brands, but one of the most dominating front sevens that you'll ever come across. That's where your focus should be on. Doing something that you've never done before. Getting to a championship in this century. In this century. My son is in high school, and this is the most relevant he's ever seen Ole Miss be. Cash in on this. This isn't a forever thing. Just 3 or 4 years ago, we were talking about Georgia being a dynasty, and now Georgia has flopped 2 times in the playoffs. Hell, in 2019, we thought LSU was going to kick off a dynasty. We haven't been to a New Year's Six Bowl since. It is legitimately here today, gone tomorrow. Alabama was in the playoffs with Nick Saban, pressing for championships every year. Saban's last game they lost, and they've gone 8-4 back-to-back seasons, or 9-4 back-to-back seasons. You've got teams on the rise. Texas Tech is coming. The SEC is getting skull dragged in every game outside of the SEC, and people are just holding that up as banners. That's what happens when you are the standard. Focus on that thing. Don't just focus on what somebody said on Twitter or where someone could potentially be going. Not right now. Win Thursday, and then you focus on January 19th. You lose Thursday, then focus on what players are moving where. But you only got this one shot in 2026. In 2026, this is the only playoff game that you have to focus on right now. Focus on that. Stop worrying about what LSU is doing. And if you're that concerned about it, get the LSU coaches out of the building. This is dumb. And I didn't even want to go on this long of a rant about it, but yet here we are. Here we are. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now, in other news, LSU is hosting its most important portal prospect. Quarterback Sam Leavitt is one that they can't miss. They have to get. They cannot miss on it at all. They have to land on Sam Leavitt. Why is it so important? Because you don't have a quarterback on under scholarship on the roster. So you have to get him. There's no other choice. You have to have him. You hosted Brendan Sorsby yesterday, who, from the entire start of the portal, was slated to go to Texas Tech. But you made a run just to see what could possibly happen. People knew that the long shot hope was that LSU was holding out hope for Trinidad Chambers. Well, he's probably not getting a waiver. And if he was, the likelihood of him entering the portal at this point, especially considering that they won against Georgia, was not going to happen because he just doesn't have the time to do it. The timing's bad. So today, the news breaks that he re-ups with Ole Miss pending the results of his waiver. Good for him. Absolutely good for him. But good for you too. You went after the top two quarterback prospects. You went after Sorsby first. He comes and visits Texas Tech, and then he leaves Lubbock to come see what you were looking like. Could you blow his socks off? No, you didn't. You didn't go all in for him. And why you didn't go all in for him? Because it's been rumored from the start, Lane wanted Leavitt more than anything else. If Sorsby would have come, if Sorsby wanted you first, he probably would have taken the commit after speaking with Sam Leavitt. I think, and this is just me hypothesizing, that if Sorsby would have wanted to commit, Lane would have wanted to meet with Sam Leavitt first, see how that went, and then double back to Sorsby. But the way that this is going, those guys can't wait. You got $5.5 million sitting on the table. I'm not about to wait for you to go talk to somebody else. Let me go take the money that I got. And then on top of that, like I said, I don't think LSU went all the way in on Sorsby. Cool. But you got Sam Leavitt right now. He's on campus. And you're lining him up to be visited with other portal transfers. Most importantly, wide receivers. Jace Brown. The same Jace Brown that I went off about being at Ole Miss. Jace Brown posted a picture to his Instagram story saying that he was showing that he was in Oxford. Cool, great, fantastic. People in Ole Miss, haha, he's supposed to be at LSU, haha, whatever. He's supposed to be, he's not there, he's in Oxford. Cool. This kid should go check out every potential place he is considering. He needs to. But he left Oxford to come to Baton Rouge to sit and talk with the man who built Oxford, with the wide receiver coaches who coach the wide receivers that are in Oxford, to sit with the quarterback that Lane wants to lead this LSU program for this upcoming season. You think that was by happenstance? No, this is smart. This is Lane playing chess, not checkers. So you gotta go all in. You gotta get him. And I know everybody's concerned about the injury, and he can miss spring. Sam Levitt was hurt on September 20th. After surgery, Liz Frank recovery. I just said Franck, the actual French, diction of the word. I can't believe it. The actual Liz Frank recovery takes about 6 months to 12 months. And that's like that 12 month is on in a very extended time. If he got hurt in September, he has surgery, started recovery in October, 6 months would put you at April. If LSU typically has a spring game in the middle of April, it's typically before the 15th. I know that because it normally falls on my birthday. I've actually had to go to LSU spring games, stand on the sidelines for those games on my birthday. And no, it wasn't a birthday present either. It was almost an inconvenience because I wanted to do something else, but I had to take my birthday and spend it at LSU for the glorified practice. So understand this. You can push spring back. You set the spring schedule. So if we're talking about Sam Levitt not being ready till at the earliest April, push it back 2 weeks. Push spring back 2 weeks. So that way he can come in at the end of spring and start getting his reps in and then work out all throughout the summer with the same receivers that he's going to be playing with. Don't be concerned about that. You're talking about a quarterback who is a baller. And if you watched him play, yeah, he would be. But I also said, I don't care what quarterback Lane Kiffin gets. I've watched this man take a converted running back and play a quarterback and be successful. And then you see him take a Division II player and make him the 8th finalist in the Heisman. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Look, on Twitter, there's over 300 of y'all who's watched this. Follow the channel, please. Like the video, share it. Let's get it. Let's get those numbers up on YouTube. Come on, come over to YouTube. Timeouts and Tangents. We need y'all over there. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, share it. Let's get the word out. Help get the numbers up on the channel. I want to see y'all. I want to start a community with y'all. I want to hang out with y'all as much as possible, especially while this off season is rolling forward. Like this is gonna be a fun season. And somebody told me this earlier in a reply on something I posted on Twitter. My Twitter's been popping off today. My little account with 140 followers. Thank y'all to every one of my 140 followers. Thank you. Thank you so much. I would love it if I can get those same 140 followers over to the Timeouts and Tangents Twitter page to hit the follow button over there too. Please, let's run these numbers up. But somebody told me that we have to embrace being the villain. Yes, I'm for it. Why? Because we have the villain coach. We have the coach that everybody wants to see lose. Now, I don't know why. I guess it's because of how things went at Tennessee, getting fired at USC, getting embarrassed at Oakland. Cool, whatever. And it's then apparently with how things happened at Ole Miss. It's an unfortunate situation for Lane Kiffin. It is, but ain't nobody gonna give him sympathy. And guess what? I don't care. I don't care. I'm here to watch LSU play football. I'm here to watch LSU play baseball. I'm here to watch LSU play basketball. I'm here to support everything LSU. I'm here to support the school, but I'm also here to tell you guys what's going on, whether it be right, wrong, or indifferent. Yes, I am an LSU fan, but I can definitely give objective, unbiased opinions. We have to, as a fan base, be patient. There are a lot of people sitting up here nervous and upset because January 2nd came and gone and nothing popped off. Why do you care right now? Be worried if we didn't have these big name players coming in on a visit. That's what you should be worried about. Did we think that midnight was going to pop off and then the portal was going to open and then Lane was just going to snap a finger and close it? No, this is a process, man. I've been tweeting that out too. Trust the process. Trust it. We got to trust the process. And right now, LSU is doing everything that they can to trust that process. They are going all in on Levitt. They had Supper Club open up on a Monday. Supper Club is closed on Mondays. I know a lot of people out here listening, like, what the hell is a Supper Club? It's one of the most elite restaurants in Baton Rouge. And I'm not just saying that. It's really good. Really good food, fine dining. You don't need suit and tie, little jacket, you know. Some of the best steaks. Google the menu. So they're whining and dining, Sam. And deservedly so. Apparently it took him to go see some houses where he would be staying on campus or near campus. They're putting in the work. They're going all out because they want him, but can they close him? And per Pete Nakos and Steve Wiltfong, if you aren't subscribed to On Three, you should. NIL is not going to be a hurdle for Sam Levitt and LSU. So put the money to the side. It's going to be about fit. Now, if you're LSU and you're concerned about another school, Kentucky was the school that he went to go visit first. And then you had Kentucky fans trying to pop off about football towards LSU fans because Sam Levitt was coming visit LSU after Kentucky. And they were trying to tell us that we were going to get Sloaned because they now have Joe Sloan. You can tell Kentucky fans do not watch or follow football at all because Joe Sloan was one of the worst offensive coordinators I have ever seen in my entire life on a collegiate football field. Terrible. And it's even more terrible and more disgusting because most of these fans of Kentucky could only show baseball clips to try to troll, or they had animated Wildcats baseball, basketball clips, or animated Wildcat basketball, animated Wildcats in basketball uniforms. Like, you're showing me what your number one sport is. You're showing me the only thing that you're relevant in. I don't have to just, brag about the 3 national championships that LSU has won, the 4th that they played for, the 2 Heisman Trophy winners that we have, the Bolitnikoff winners that we have, the Jim Thorpe Award winners that we have, the consensus All-Americans that we have, I said 2 Heisman Trophy winners? I'm sorry, I forgot one. So excuse me, Billy Cannon. The 3 Heisman Trophy winners that we have. That's just football. I don't have to talk about just those. I can talk about the national championships that we have in gymnastics, track and field, baseball. Don't get me started on baseball, like women's basketball. Like, LSU is in everything school. So when these schools like Kentucky try to jump up in mentions talking about Will Stein is putting Lane Kiffin in the locker because they got Joe Sloan. Ugh. We paid $54 million to get rid of Brian Kelly because of Joe Sloan. Y'all have fun with that. Fortunately, you got Will Stein. Hopefully, he's going to be the play caller and play designer because that Joe Sloan offense at LSU was absolutely terrible. And I feel bad for Kenny Darby having to go deal with that again. But that's what he chose. So you got to close on Sam Levitt because even since Texas Tech has gotten the commitment from Brendan Sorsby, Kentucky got a commitment from Kenny Minchie. I'm sorry, Texas Tech got from Brendan Sorsby. Kentucky got a commitment from Kenny Minchie. Kenny Minchie was the backup quarterback at Notre Dame, who apparently was going to commit to Nebraska, but before heading to his visit to Nebraska, hit a I'm gonna hold off on you and go to Kentucky. So Kentucky's got their quarterback. Levitt left and came to Baton Rouge, and Will Stein pivoted real quick. So let's not let this momentum die down. You're popping off with some players in the transfer portal. You got the commitment from the receiver from Hawaii. You got a recruit, a running back from Utah. You got the commitment from the wide receiver from Old Dominion. You're getting guys. You brought in Chaz Coleman, elite edge, true freshman from Penn State. He's on a visit right now to Tennessee and is expected to go to Ohio State. Can you close him? Can you close him? You got the guys in here. We just got to be patient, y'all. We got to be, this is going to be a massive overhaul. You talk about taking a house and just stripping it down to the studs. Well, guess what? The studs are gone because every wide receiver in the room is gone outside of Nick Anderson and one other one. All of your running backs are gone. All your quarterbacks are gone. Most of your O linemen outside of two, Braylon Moore and Weston Davis, are gone. Your whole offense is in the portal. Every single thing is new. Everything. Checking right now to see if there's any breaking news. No, nothing yet. Per Matt Moscona, and I'm gonna retweet this right quick. Per Matt Moscona, sources confirm LSU OC Charlie Weiss Jr. is in town for Sam Levitt's visit tonight. Duh. A small, and I'm not being indignant towards Matt. I'm just saying like we should figure that out. Like we shouldn't need Matt to tell us this because Charlie Weiss wants to do his job correctly. A small group including Levitt, his parents, Weiss, I'm sorry, Joe Cox, and quarterback coach Dane Stevens having private dinner at Supper Club. Told y'all. Supper Club. Whit Weeks also attended. Close. You got to close. You got to close. There's nothing else to do but close, guys. You got your guy in the building. He's on campus. Don't let him leave. The only other school that you got to worry about him going to potentially is Miami. And Miami's got a lot to offer. They're in the college football semifinal. Their offensive line is one of the best. They've been proven over the last couple of years. They went all in on a quarterback like Carson Beck, who's been, no, I don't want you to call him a disappointment, but for $4 million, you're expecting a little bit more of an explosive type of a playmaker. But he's doing what he's supposed to do to win games for them. Miami's going to be a problem for you to deal with if he leaves and goes to Miami. So close, close. Wide receiver from Old Dominion. Trying to get his name right now. Let's see. Trey Brown. That was it. This is the thing that I want to highlight about the two wide receiver commits LSU just got. Both of them averaged per reception 20 yards per catch last season. Both of them. So you talk about explosive wide receivers who stretch the field. Jackson Harris, 19.7 yards per catch. And Trey Brown, 20.1 yards per catch. You pair that with Sam Leavitt and the arm that he has, you see why Lane wants him. Trying to beat you over the top and beat you like a drum with it. You gotta close. You gotta close. We gotta finish the job. You gotta close. There's no other choice. You have to close. Hit the follow button, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share button. I'm not gonna keep y'all any much longer because I know it's already late. Thank you to all the people on Twitter for viewing with us. If you came over to YouTube, thank you for that too. Next time, chat. Jump in the chat. Want to see y'all in the chat, man. Thank y'all so much for all the support, all the love. It's greatly appreciated. Looking forward to coming back on. I might jump back on here tomorrow night. But Tiger fans, we got to make sure we don't let these Ole Miss fans just try to bring us out of our element. Don't let them drag you down. And Ole Miss fans, for the life of me, please, God, move on. Focus in on Thursday. Don't concern yourself with what the hell is going on in Baton Rouge. Just focus in on the team. Support Trinidad Chambers. Support Keywan Lacey. Support Stribling. Support all you guys. Prince Human Mielin. Like, support those guys. Focus in on them. Don't let this be distractions. Y'all don't need this. And please, grow up. It's AP. It's Timeouts and Tangents. TAT. Join us on Twitter. We're on Facebook, TikTok too. Timeouts and Tangents everywhere. Except for on Twitter, we are TNT_pod NOLA. I'm out. Y'all have a good night. Love y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Be safe. And hey, be the difference that you want to see in the world. You want to see things take place differently? Then be the difference. Be the difference. Be the difference. Show someone what it looks like to be patient, to show love, to show kindness. Spread love. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good night.